Good morning and welcome back to my channel. I just put on perfume for you guys, so I hope you can smell me through the screen. Today I wanted to talk about making decisions, and I want to talk about this in your own life and also what to do if there's someone in your life where they're not making a decision and you just kind of feel stuck in limbo. You know, this could happen at work. Maybe like someone's like umming and ahhing about you getting a raise or a promotion. This could happen in a relationship where someone doesn't want to move it to the next level. So we want to be strong, right? And as women, it's like you don't have to be like physically strong. That's not our job, right? Like you can be as physically strong as you want to be. I know that a man is still going to be like 4 times stronger than me. So I'm like, okay. So our strength comes in our emotions and our ability to be emotionally regulated, which you might be saying, but my hormones, like blah, 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 blah. Girl, I feel like women have a real leg up in our emotions and our emotional regulation because we understand them. A sign that you're not emotionally regulated is you can see this like most easily in your romantic relationships. So let's say you get attached to someone too quickly. Let's say you get like too excited over a guy like right away before you even know them. Like I'm talking to me too. This is me in the past as well. Let's say like you kind of let go of what you really want in order to please another person. Those are some good signs you're not emotionally regulated. Another sign is if you spend like 2 hours talking about something with someone that you're in a relationship with, like, and there's no resolution. Like, if you don't have the ability to take a step back and be quiet and be silent, that might be some signs that you need to work on your emotional regulation. But when you have that down, and if you want me to make more videos on how you can become more emotionally regulated, I'm happy to do that. But when you have that down, you will be very, very strong. And that's our strength in women, where we can be emotionally regulated, where we set the temperature of the room. So if we are able to nail that, that is our strength, that is our superpower. And in controlling our emotions, we are able to make decisions. If you're not able to make decisions, that's probably another sign that you are not emotionally regulated. Because living in a state of limbo, especially for us as women, people who really value safety, that's not a good place to be. So within making decisions, you might be saying like, how do I do that? And the answer is you just start. It's like a muscle. It's like anything else. This is what I'm talking about. This is strength. We are strength training our decision muscles. If you want to go deeper into this, I think Tony Robbins does a way better job at explaining this than I do. Like, this is where I first started implementing the practice. So definitely go check out his videos. I'm no guru. I'm just a dumb girl who listens to wise people. That's what I like to say. So go check out Tony Robbins, but he talks about making type 1 and type 2 decisions. So type 1 are like much harder to reverse. Type 2 are a lot easier to reverse. So they're like smaller decisions. So maybe you're thinking like, oh, what should I have for dinner tonight? Maybe just decide now. Decide in this video. Write it down on a piece of paper and stick to it, right? So start making the muscles of decisions, right? You don't want to be that person who's always like, oh, I don't know, like maybe I want this, maybe I want that. No, you want to have an opinion. You want to be decisive, because in order to really get what you want out of life, you have to know what you want and what you don't want. So start forming opinions, start making decisions, and start getting feedback from those decisions about like, hey, this is the path that God has for me. This is not the path that God has for me. Because again, as women, we are so in touch with our feelings. You're going to know if that decision brought you peace or not. You're going to know if that decision brought you clarity. You're going to know if that decision brought you closer to your goals. So start making the small decisions and work your way up to the big ones. I'm sure there's something big right now in your life that you're not making a decision about. You know what? If you have the courage, make a decision about that too. And if someone is giving you confusion on the other end, know that that's an answer. The decision to not make a decision is a decision. It's the worst one. The worst decision that anyone can make is making no decision at all. But people will string you along because they like the convenience, they like the benefits of having you, right? Recognize that confusion is a decision in itself. It's a confusion, and the confusion is the decision to keep you stuck, whether these people really consciously realize it or not. I really don't think that most people are trying to be bad. I actually operate from the belief that most people are trying to do good, right? But we're all messed up, okay? And so if people are getting benefits, if people are afraid, you know, a lot of times these things come from fear. Like, it's not even about you. If someone is confused, Like, that is a decision. They don't have a strong muscle, but you have to have a strong muscle for yourself if you can tell that this limbo is not going in the way that you want. I really like this saying, it's like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And then there's also the Bible verse as well. It's like, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Everything else is from the work of the evil one. So that space of confusion in the middle, that is from the evil one. That is from the devil. You do not want to be in any space of confusion. And confusion, I'll say, is very different from uncertainty, right? There are some things that you're waiting on from God, right? There are some periods where it's like you've taken all the action that you can take. I would say a really good sign that I found when I know I haven't made enough decisions is I feel anxiety, right? But a lot of times when I take action towards the things that I want and then the ball is in God's court, then I feel less anxious. I know God's going to carry me the rest of the way. But if I feel anxious, then I know that there are decisions that I have to make. So if you're feeling anxious, maybe that's an indication that you need to make some decisions. If you feel at peace and you feel like you're just waiting and you have to be patient, this is your time to lean on God. Or that's when I know it's my time to lean on God, okay? I'm, again, not a guru here, just telling you what works for me. And I feel relatively at peace in my life. Like, even through really bad storms, like, I feel good, right? And I feel grateful. Maybe that's because I have my dog lady. I'm obsessed with my dog, so I love my dog. And maybe it's also because I read my Bible. I don't know. Maybe it's because I make decisions. I really don't know. I think it's probably a combination of all of them. So make some decisions, right? This is what this video is encouraging you to do. And start walking away from confusion, because confusion, again, is the work of the devil. It's from the evil one. You do not want to be in a state of limbo, in a state of confusion. I bet you're even thinking right now of some scenarios where you feel confused and it doesn't feel good. It feels icky. You feel not chosen. You feel all these different things, and you assign it this narrative that's probably not even true, but it's because you're staying stuck in it. So the question that I want to ask yourself, I always ask myself as well. I shouldn't say should, because I don't want to give like an actual recommendation. I just want to tell you like what works for me. You can take it or leave it. So the question that I ask myself when going into the really big decisions, the type 1 decisions, so this can be something like ending a relationship, leaving a job, is, do I respect myself more or less for making this decision, right? So making no decision, I respect myself less. Looking back at it, if I stayed in a situation where I didn't make a decision, I respect myself less. And there are certain decisions that I've made as well, where over time making that decision has caused me to respect myself less, which is clear indication, clear feedback that it's time to correct course, right? That's what goes on in my head. That's a really big thing for me. It's like, does this make me respect myself more or less? And I'll explain some of my global reinforcers too, just so you have like a clear understanding of where I'm coming from, and potentially you're able to break it down for yourself. So a global reinforcer is like a belief that you have about the world that informs your other decisions and informs your values. At least that's what it means to me. So some of my global beliefs are around, if I say that I'm going to do something, I should do it. So that's a commitment belief, right? And so I find that I like myself less when I do not stick to my word. Therefore, I have started saying no, or I will try, to a lot more events, right? And, obviously if it's an event coming up and I'm like, I will try, honestly, that's probably a no. But sometimes I do try and sometimes I do show up. But I have this global belief where I make the decision not to commit to that event, right? Because if I can't follow through, that's going to make me feel bad about myself. It's going to make me respect myself less because of my global belief. Another one is, I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord, right? And I have another video explaining this, because you might think like, oh, this girl's like all in on belief. No, I'm at like 51%. When I got baptized, 51%, still probably around 51%. If you look at it at a sliding scale. I don't know what the exact percentage is. I know I'm afraid of the Lord, right? Like, I think about like messing up and I'm like, that's scary, right? Like, I don't want to make God mad. And our God is very loving and forgiving, but like definitely I have that fear. So that reinforced to me that I believe in the same. But in this global belief, I am reinforced for following the values in the Bible because it is what I believe. So I find that when I contradict the Bible, right, what I feel is guilt because I'm violating my own beliefs, and I feel shame because I feel like I'm violating God's, right? So a lot of times when we feel guilt, it's because we are violating our own beliefs, and when we feel shame, it's because we are violating others. And so I try not to care so much about if I have shame and it's from other people, but if I'm violating God's belief, I do feel a certain amount of shame, and that's what leads me to repentance, right? But those are my global beliefs. And so when it comes to like following what the Bible says, I get a reinforcement from that because I have stuck to my values and my beliefs. So when making a decision, I try to keep it in accordance with my values and with the Bible's values, right? It's not easy, but it brings me peace. And so you'll find whatever your values are, whatever your beliefs are, if you are able to stay in accordance with them consistently, you will get a positive feeling of peace from the inside, and your decisions will be reinforced in that way, right? But if you're acting separately, you'll probably feel guilt and you'll probably feel shame. So all that to say, there's obviously like a lot of things that go into making decisions, but decisions will lead you closer to, or led me closer to who I am, right? I got more feedback from the world from making decisions than from making no decisions, right? So I was able to determine these global beliefs from making decisions. And when I started making more intentional decisions, life stopped happening to me, right? Like before, I was reactive. Like things would happen to me and I would be like, I hated that. That was a terrible thing that I did. I hated that, right? Like I'm talking about like my past relationships when I was like 20 something. Like there are some intentional decisions that I made, but when you're young, you just don't know. So if you're young and you're messing up, like that's just life, okay? Like life in your 20s is supposed to be one of the most difficult times in your life. I literally have this quote on Instagram where I say, everything up to 30, I'm chalking up to experience, because girl, it's hard out here. It's hard to be out here in your 20s and have so many doors to walk through, and yet like so many of them don't end up working out, right? And that's what you try to figure out in your 20s and then in your 30s and 40s and 50s, but you seem to be more established at that point, a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more life decisions. But in my early 20s, coming back to this, like I would make decisions without really thinking about them, or I would let decisions happen to me, where now I try to be a lot more conscious about the decisions that I make, right? I don't want things to just happen to me. I want to be strong. I want to be intentional. And even within this, I still mess up so much. So again, this is to get feedback. It's not to be perfect. I hope this helped you. This is stuff that I wish that I knew before. And yeah, I'm rooting for you. Like, follow, subscribe. I'm still a new channel, but yeah, leave me any comments. I try to respond to them. I do respond to them because again, I do respond to them pretty thoroughly right now. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.